Hello, everyone. John Bruna here with the Daily Quote. I do hope that you've been finding them helpful. Let's go ahead and get right to today's quote. When our feelings are triggered by others, instead of reflexively casting blame outwardly, we have an opportunity to explore inwardly, understand ourselves more deeply, and be empowered to respond skillfully rather than react habitually. Keywords there, respond versus react. Now this is actually quite a skill to be developed. When we're triggered emotionally, we enter into what's called a refractory period, and our emotions are very strong, and we don't have the normal judgment and capacity to respond in a way that gives us more choice. Refractory period kind of sees everything through that lens of that emotion. And this is true whether it's joy or whether it's anger. It's an old quote, never make a decision when you're angry or a promise when you're happy. Because in both directions, we're not always very equanimous with our ability to make a choice. And equanimous, having an equanimity, a balanced state of mind. And so one of the skills that we can learn is just noticing that we're triggered, that we're emotional. And when I notice that today, this is not the time to respond. It's going to be reactive. I have a chance now to pause, to take a breath, to notice I'm experiencing this emotion, whatever it is. And if I take a breath or two, I generally have a little gap there. And that gap, as Viktor Frankl says, that's where all of our power is. The opportunity to respond consciously. We all know what it's like to say things we didn't mean, say things in anger, say things to our loved ones that we regret, say things to our bosses that don't turn out well. We can lose friendships over our reactive responses when we're emotionally triggered. And so the skill here is to, when we notice that, to take a moment, to have a few breaths, few breaths, tongue twister. And sometimes the answer for me is, let me get back to you on that. Let me have a moment. A friend of mine, a dear friend, always says, a conversation in the wrong mood is the wrong conversation. So it's really nice to take a few breaths to get a little more grounded. And then respond, take action. Don't hit send on that email when we're in an angry mood, but when we're in a balanced mood. These emotions, they'll come and they'll go. They rise and they fall. When they rise is not the time. When we have some balance, then we can skillfully respond and understand ourselves and our feelings and what was triggered within us. And sometimes I've certainly discovered it was more about me than them, or more about me than the event. I was tired, I was not paying attention, I was irritable, I was insecure, I was fearful, I felt threatened. All these things within me have caused me to react in ways that were not very healthy. So today's quote is really a skill to be developed, to notice those sensations of emotion and give yourself a pause, a few breaths, and the opportunity to respond instead of react.